¿Qué tal amigos? ¿Cómo están? Bienvenidos a esta nueva era de transmisiones que se llaman Rolling Stone Live. Con esto comenzamos el año 2019, un nuevo formato desde la casa Rolling Stone nuevamente, pero muy distinto, muy diferente a lo que ustedes han visto durante los años anteriores. Y para comenzar con este primer programa de 2019, tenemos un invitado muy especial. Tenemos a un grande, tal vez uno de los más grandes fotógrafos de la historia del rock. We have one of the most famous and the greatest photographers in rock history, Mr. Mick Rock.
History being the operative word now.
He's making history. His photos are history. Mr. Mick Rock, welcome to Rolling Stone Mexico, Mick.
Well, I'm very happy to be here, and I was here last year when we had my David Bowie exhibition at exactly the same location, the Cuatro Caminos Foto Museum. So we should tell people, you should put it somewhere with the address, so people should go and have a look at it. It's a Queen exhibition, yeah, because Queen are everywhere.
Sí, para los que no lo sepan, ya creo que todo el mundo ya lo sabe porque tenemos nuestra portada del mes de marzo con Queen, la fotografía de Mick Rock. Mick estuvo con nosotros el año pasado visitándonos para presentarnos la exposición de David Bowie y ahora nos visita con esta exposición de Queen. Mick, we hear that you were looking on all those boxes you have on that basement.
If you watch a movie documentary called Shot, S-H-O-T.
Shot.
Have you seen it?
I have.
Oh.
HBO.
No, it's not HBO.
Netflix.
No, you still got to pay for it.
Netflix.
It's fucking free.
It's fucking free. Entonces, busquen en YouTube si es fucking free. No, es una gran película. It's a great documentary where you can know a little bit
Learn
more.
how to be a very naughty boy in your sad 20s.
It used to be a nice boy, yeah. You were in all the parties.
Well, I don't know. I think because remember the spirit of the time. I mean, when I was at college, it was like rip-roaring hippies, you know, and the beginning of that whole, you know, sex, drugs, and rock and roll thing. And then I was working in the business from it, and what I was doing wasn't that abnormal by the standards of the music period of the period. By most other reasonable standards, it was completely out of control. So that's the truth of it.
How did you survive that era?
I think that's, you know, I'm going to have a word with whoever I get to, whatever maker I get to meet when my time comes. Certainly I've challenged them a couple of times because I did that. It's quite a while back now, it's like 23 years ago this Christmas. I had quadruple bypass heart surgery. Because I'd had like 3 heart attacks. And that was, of course that's, Barney, I got rid of a lot of that. Barney got a little bit, I think he was in love with the shots, he was doing beautiful shots. I said, Barney, slowing it all up. But he's very cool. He'd never done a documentary before, which was part of the reason why I worked with him. With all due respect to old Queens everywhere, because I have many friends that are old Queens. Didn't really want it to be like that. But he had to be under 40. So Barney was under 40. He never done a documentary before. That was good. He actually did help with Vice because we did a project before the documentary involving the video that I had at Bowie, Life on Mars, which I actually owned the visual because David. I mean, it was never discussed years ago because they had very little usage. I did a bunch back then, but the ones that everybody cares about are Life on Mars, including the new version that I did 2 or 3 years ago, and Genie, John and Minnie Dancing, and Space Oddity. And I don't know, you know, how or why it all happened the way it did, because nobody talked to me about it. It just kept moving along, and you know, it wasn't a straight line. I mean, I wanted to go wherever it was I wanted. I was, as I said in the documentary, I wasn't sure where I was going, but I was going, and I was going in that direction. And of course, if you're, and it was the state of the music business too, and the state of the culture. And people did get a little bit fucking cocaine happy. There's no question about it. And then everybody else started doing it. So you go, well, it's not really hip anymore, is it? They're doing it out in some piss hole in Arkansas. And, but I haven't seen it in a long time because I suppose I haven't done it in a long time. But the other big thing is cigarettes. I haven't smoked cigarettes in all those years because I chain smoking in the cocaine years, you know.
You did everything.
No, that's not true. No.
No?
No. When I was at Cambridge at college, I had 2 friends die of heroin overdoses. So even though I know plenty of other people have done it and survived, for me, it was a death drug. I was never. I did it twice inadvertently when I thought somebody was being really tight with the cocaine, and they were just little lines, and I thought, you know, I mean, don't want to miss out on it. But it was heroin.
Oh, okay.
But fortunately, they were tight-fisted anyway, so they were little lines.
Dangerous.
Well, I think I'm very happy that I have a daughter. She had a little period when she was at college, but she's like clean as a whistle.
Great. Mick, you work with Queen. Everybody is really into Freddie Mercury, and everybody loved Freddie Mercury.
Freddie Mercury, unbelievable.
But tell me something. You that were so close to the whole group, tell us something about the rest
I was
of
closer
the band.
to Freddie. I wasn't so close to them. I mean, I liked them, but Freddie was the one. He was the lead singer, and he was, at the time, in those early days, he was a bit more the dominating force. His songs were getting released as singles, and he was writing the most. Then Brian was writing, and the other 2 really didn't write at all. So he was dominating the creative thing. Plus he'd named the band. Plus, I don't know, I tended to gravitate towards, you know, the charismatic ones. You know, it's not that. I mean, Queen are a fantastic band, and they were all worthy of being praised. But Freddie was irresistible.
Did you think that Freddie and David Bowie have something in common?
Yeah, the ambition.
Charisma?
Oh, certainly that. But also the raging ambition, and also the ability to project from before they became. I mean, you could see Freddie, this gig, Imperial College, small stage. There were about 750 people there, so they were starting to get traction. And but there's Freddie, and he might as well have been in a fucking massive stadium in South America, where they love him. But you know, this was early days. But him and David. Lou Reed was complex. Lou, because Lou I knew very well. Lou I knew very well for years. He was very dual about. I think he did want to be a star. He did want to be successful, and yet he didn't. And he certainly wasn't prepared to compromise. I don't know that David or Freddie really compromised, but they would have if they'd had to. But Lou was incapable of it.
When you do those shots for the
Queen,
for the covers, for example, your Heart Attack, we've seen a lot of them. For example, the same pose, but everybody's laughing at that photo, that one you have on the exhibition. It was really natural for them to pose, because when you see those photos, it looks like you have been working a lot. Don't move, smile, turn here, turn that, and maybe it would be so natural for them. Freddie was natural. Were the others as natural?
Freddie loved the attention, so he was. The others, I think, they were not against it, obviously. But Freddie was, Freddie was a movie star.
From the beginning.
Well, there's that famous story that Roger tells of before they had, before they made a record, Freddie, who at the time had no money at all, would come over and crash on his floor and act like he was doing him a favour.
Okay.
I mean, that's Roger and Freddie, whatever. But it's obviously their relationship was. But he was thinking big from the beginning, and I mean the rest of them, Brian May especially, of course, has been very creative. And very important in the early days, especially with the sound. The sound was really about, in the early days, was about Freddie and Brian. The songs were a bit more about Freddie, but there was, it's a bit like, not to compare them, different animal, but like the Beatles. In the early going, John Lennon was the stronger force. And then Paul McCartney, and then, he's still going, Paul McCartney, can you believe it? And Mick Jagger, I heard, had had a heart attack or something. He's having to have heart bypass surgery. Having to cancel I had quadruple 23 years ago. He's just getting a double. It's like a baby thing. No, God, but he's a lot older than I was then. But he's plenty fit enough. He's not going to have any issues.
He's very healthy right now.
I think he came out of a family. The father was, I know his brother, Chris. I never really knew Mick, but Chris, I knew when I was at Cambridge. He was friendly with a friend of mine there, but the father was a PT instructor. Was a serious. I think the first time Mick was on TV, he was doing that thing where you leap over. It was like a gymnast. So it was in him, that thing.
And he's so skinny, he can do anything.
Well, he's skinny, but he's got the muscles. I mean, they're trim muscles. They're not bullshit muscles, those big muscles. I mean, I wonder more of the bodybuilders don't die. You put all that pressure on the heart, all the weight that the heart's got to carry around. You're better off a little bit. You can't have too little, but it's better if you've got a bit less rather than a bit more. So he has a bit of, so I'm looking at you going, I don't know, you might, now that's different. Yeah, I can't do that. No, you don't even want to feel it, man. I've been picking up cameras. I mean, it's like...
Yeah, you must have some muscles.
No, not at all.
Before we go with...
Here.
How did your leg?
I got powerful. I used to row when I was at school.
Okay. Before we go with people questions, and tell me something. Did you like the Bohemian Rhapsody movie?
I've heard, the only criticism I've heard about it. I mean, my wife loved it. I mean, she saw it. I thought, you know what? And I often do this with it. I'll hold back a bit because I only know a certain amount, but certainly I knew in those early years, and until I fell in love with New York. But it was. And it's not, I mean, there's a lot of literal truth in it, but it's not completely literally true.
I know. Yeah.
But so what? It's a story. That singer isn't singing.
Yeah.
But he's acting it great. So it's a story. There are documentaries. But I tell you, everybody I've met that I know loves it.
Yes.
So, because, and then they brought Mary to the fore. Mary, to whom I remember her saying, very modest soul. She was I have great pictures
of them.
Yeah, together. They look so, they're very, and there aren't many pictures of them around other than the ones I took, but they look so pretty together. And you can see she's in love with him. And it was before Freddie went whoops-a-daisy, you know. Actually, Freddie never did that. He did more in his lifestyle, but only at the end did he make the statement, you know. That but Freddie was, I'll tell you what, he was a very nice man.
I know, yeah.
He was.
Well, let's hear some of the people questions that had for Mick Rock.
It's just questions from the people.
Yeah, come on.
What is your fondest memory of Freddie?
Yeah. See, if everyone was talking about Freddie, it's Queen. Everybody was talking. But it's understandable. It's understandable. On the other hand, more power and credit to Brian and Roger for keeping the whole thing, you know, alive. Yes. And then when they did that musical, and but it's a shame that Freddie's not around. And they probably wouldn't have made Bohemian Rhapsody if Freddie had been around, you know. It's something about death. It's like that Doors movie, which I always liked, actually.
John Lennon and all.
No, but I'm thinking the Doors movie with Val Kilmer as Jim Morrison.
Okay.
But Jim Morrison was nicely dead for a lot of years before that. I think it works. There's something about death. It's not that I'm looking for it, and not that I wish it on anybody, even though I've had a lot of friends die in recent. Well, you know, not just David Bowie and Sid Barrett and Lou Reed and Freddie.
The whole Ramones.
All of the Ramones, yeah, or the original, although Marky still looks at, he goes out and does Ramones song, Marky. By the time I shot the album cover, he was in the band, the Phil Spector album.
His first album with the band.
That was his first album with the band. I don't know, I mean, I have a lot. I do remember going over one day for tea, and maybe we're going to talk about a session, and he whipped out Court and Spark by, what's her name? Who, the amazing singer, Canadian. Unfortunately, she's on a wheelchair now. It's on the end of my tongue, but it won't. Anyway, it was a girl singing, and it was, he was enthralled with it. He did appreciate other people's work, and he certainly liked David Bowie in those early days. I don't know what happened after they made Under Pressure, which is such an extraordinary record. But obviously the synergy, hey, doesn't matter if it works that well one time, that's totally worth it.
It has to work.
Well, no, those two, you never know. There's nothing is until it is. You know, you can't. We go, oh, it's this, and you go, well, could be. The odds are looking that they're flowing in that direction, but you know, but.
Okay. If you hadn't become a photographer, what would you be doing right now?
Well, I know my parents wanted me to stay on at Cambridge and like, you know, give lectures, but they weren't, you know, at Cambridge, they were mostly all male colleges. Nowadays, they're like a lot more girls, and they're mixed colleges. I probably would have stayed and been a lecturer. No, a lecturer.
Okay.
I don't know, but I mean, I have written bits and pieces and done a bit of journalistic stuff. But the problem with writing is you've got to fucking sit there and do it. The great thing about photography is I can be like a bat out of hell. So in terms of expressing the body, I mean, I'm not really, I don't really operate like a voyeur. I mean, there are great photographers that do, and I'm not criticising some photographers are very quiet. But you know, the thing is the results. If you get the results, it's you do it your way. I think the main thing is to do it in a way that organically comes naturally, rather than, you know, people ask me about, so what would it take to get my pictures published? I don't fucking know. Well, but how would I know? I never thought about it. Things happen. And I just say, follow your obsessions, because at least you'll love what you're doing. Whether you'll ever get a gig, who knows, but maybe 50 years you could become a very famous butterfly photographer, you know, or spider photographer. You could be an expert.
Do you have a ritual before you start a photo session?
Do I do what?
A ritual?
A ritual?
Yeah, but I would have really done that before I got there. I would have done some meditation, some yoga, a little chanting, and then I probably would have gone and had a massage, and lots of yeah, I've studied Kundalini yoga with Sikhs for the last 21 years, and before that, there was a guy that was very influential in England called B.K.S. Iyengar, and he was a hatha yoga man. Okay. Anyway, it's yes is the answer. And maybe a little more as I get older, although it's so organically part of me. It doesn't take discipline to do it. I just do it automatically. I can smell it coming up, and I get that like scent in my nose. I go into another head. There's a transformation for me. There's a Russian writer who's known as like the godfather of the method school of acting. You heard of the method school of acting? Marlon Brando and De Niro and even Marilyn. And he wrote in the early 20s, he talked about taking people, and in his case it's probably talking about actors in the theatre, into a raw space and building the circle of concentration. And then after a while, you know, you're just like a conduit. The thing takes care of itself. And that's the way I organically operate. I don't know if that's any use to you, whoever asked the question, but that's all I've got.
Well, we will have to invite all the people to come to see the exhibition.
Oh my God, if you ask me questions and then don't come to my Queen exhibition at the Cuatro Caminos Foto Museo, I mean, it's a huge exhibition.
It's great. If you haven't seen it, I like it more than the David Bowie one. It's great.
I love them.
I think you love both. Both are yours.
Well, David, I maybe hung out with the timing with David, like the same with Lou. Those two especially. But I did get an instant buzz off Queen, and I did believe. But then I was starting to stir. You know, until then I'm building a bit of a reputation, and then, you know, there's a lot more distraction, a lot more work, and whatever.
Disfruten esa exhibición. Mick, thank you very much. You have been the godfather of this new era of the Rolling Stone live sessions, like this one.
You ain't giving me any money, but the picture looks good on the cover.
Thank you very much.